The Clayton Hall you see today is the remains of a much larger Tudor manor house. I'm standing in the spot of where the gatehouse once stood, and I think directly opposite that is where the Great Hall once stood. We're not entirely sure because documented evidence of this is a bit thin on the ground, but if it was still in existence today, we might have some clues about the development of Clayton Hall. We know from other Tudor houses across the country that early houses were similar to medieval homes in that their great halls didn't have a chimney. Their fireplace was slap bang in the middle of the room with a hole in the roof for the smoke to go out of. But that didn't work very well. The hall would fill up with noxious fumes and the air quality was very poor. But the chimney offered a brilliant solution to draw the smoke directly out of the room. Not only did the chimney make the room more comfortable, they had a dramatic impact on the layout of the house. Instead of being in the centre of the room, the fire was put to one side. For the first time, chimneys could be put in kitchens and dining rooms, and ordinary homes could have an upstairs level with bedrooms allowing for privacy. But they came with great risk. There were no building regulations in those days, so early chimneys were built out of timber, wattle and daub, great material if you want to start a fire. I'm standing in the now empty moat at Clayton Hall, and the water level would have been somewhere about 5 feet above my head. The moat was useful for all sorts of things. It was a status symbol showing the wealth of the Byron family who built it. It was a good source of water for the kitchens. It was also a source of food, you could keep your fish in it. And it was also a source of water to put out fires. But not every Tudor home had its own moat. It took a long while for Tudors to realise that the aperture in front of the fireplace should be no more than 10 times the narrowest point of the chimney. If it's not, then the fire wouldn't draw properly and the smoke would billow back into the room. The smoke, which is also unburnt fuel, would linger halfway up the chimney and it could heat up to ignition point, and then you've got yourself an almighty fire. Is it any wonder there's accounts of a third of towns being wiped out by these primitive chimneys, traced back to one individual not looking after their chimney properly?